All right, let's talk about something that's happening right under our noses. It's this quiet collision between our digital world, which feels infinite, and the very real, very physical limits of our power grids. And the story starts in a place you would absolutely never expect. So think about this for a second. It seems pretty basic, right? You build a new house, you flip a switch, and the lights come on. But what if they didn't? What if you built a perfect brand new home and were told, sorry, you might have to wait, more than a decade for a steady power connection? This isn't some weird thought experiment. It is really happening. And to understand it, we need to zoom in on West London. Because a really strange problem that's popping up with new housing developments there is actually a huge warning sign of a massive global challenge that's going to affect pretty much every business, every app we use, really, all of us. See, this isn't just some local red tape or a planning issue. What's happening with these houses is a flashing red light that something fundamental is changing about how we all use electricity. So here's the scoop. In West London, you've got these finished housing developments just sitting there, empty. Why? Because they literally can't get hooked up to the power grid. And the reason is that the same area is now home to dozens and dozens of massive data centers that have basically sucked up all the available electricity. The local grid is completely maxed out. And get this, the estimates suggest new high-demand connections might not be possible until 2037. That's a long time to wait for power. And that brings us to the real culprit here, the one that's been hiding in plain sight. We're talking about the enormous, and I mean enormous, and fast-growing power drain from the very engines of our digital lives. Just let that number sink in for a minute. A single data center, especially one that's built for something super power-hungry like training AI models, can use the same amount of electricity as a pretty decent-sized city. This is a whole new ballgame when it comes to energy use. And, it's not even a fair comparison. A data center is a beast. It's running these incredibly complex AI computations, it has these advanced cooling systems just to keep from melting, and it's doing this 24/7, at full tilt. That's a constant, massive, unrelenting drain on the grid, completely different from a neighborhood where people's power usage goes up and down all day. Now, the thing to remember is that what's happening in London, it's not a one-off. It's really just a preview of a much bigger problem. This clash between our digital hunger and our physical power supply is starting to pop up everywhere. Just take a look at the projections for the US. In the next year alone, the demand for power from data centers is set to jump by 22%. And by 2030, we're looking at nearly tripling today's demand. Our power grids were simply not designed to handle that kind of explosive growth. And this has some very, very real consequences for businesses. And we're talking way beyond just a higher electricity bill. We're looking at strained grids that cause massive project delays, a higher risk of blockouts, and brand new roadblocks that affect where a company can even think about building or expanding. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. But this isn't all doom and gloom. It's really about adapting to a new world. So, how can businesses actually navigate this? Let's walk through a playbook for how to power up in a smarter way. It really boils down to three big ideas. First, you've got to get way more intelligent about how you use energy. Second, you have to start building resilience right into your operations. And third, you need to actively look for partners who are trying to be part of the solution, not the problem. So, step one, go energy smart. This means you got to start asking some tough questions. Are you paying for cloud services you're not even using? Does your provider run on clean, renewable energy? It's all about picking partners who actually care about efficiency and use cool tech, like advanced cooling systems, to lighten their load on the grid. Step two is all about planning for resilience. Let's be real. In a world with stressed out power grids, you have to assume that disruptions are going to happen. This could mean investing in backup power, sure, but it also might mean rethinking your whole setup with things like edge computing, basically processing data closer to where it's actually being used so you're not so dependent on those giant power-guzzling central data centers. And finally, step three, push your partners to be more sustainable. The choices your business makes create a ripple effect. When you choose to work with companies that are actually investing in solutions, like building their own renewable energy on site or coming up with hyper-efficient new designs, you're helping ease the strain for everyone. So when you put all of this together, it becomes pretty clear that we're not just talking about a technical problem. We're talking about a fundamental shift in business strategy. This is the new power play. And here it is. If you take away only one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. For decades, energy was just a line item on a spreadsheet. It was an operating cost. Well, that era is over. Energy is now a primary strategic constraint that is going to decide who can grow and who gets left in the dark. Recognizing this change isn't just about avoiding problems. It's about seizing a huge advantage. The companies that start building energy availability and sustainability into their core strategy today are going to be the ones who are best positioned to adapt, to make smarter investments, and ultimately to win in this new reality. So the final question is pretty simple. As these new lines are drawn between digital demand and energy supply, is your business on the right side of that power switch? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.